Today I want to talk to you guys about this phrase. And it's this one thing is that when they say, I am stuck. Okay. And so I really want to break this phrase down and what it really means. And so, just off the bat, you're really not stuck, you're divided. And so, I'm going to explain what that means. Good morning, everyone. Today I want to talk to you guys about this phrase that I hear a lot of, because I work with women say, but actually a lot of individuals share the same kind of sentiment or feeling about themselves. And it's this one thing is that when they say, I am stuck. Okay. And so I really want to break this phrase down and what it really means. And so, just off the bat, you're really not stuck, you're divided. And so I'm going to explain what that means. Okay. You're typically not typically, but and what you're divided in is you're divided in your will, you're divided in your thoughts, and you're divided in your emotions. And so when people are not feeling stuck, it means that they're aligned in these three areas, which is their will, their thoughts, and their emotions. But so often, especially when it comes to emotions, our emotions can move either way, because of either external circumstances, because of internal circumstances. Your emotions can go either way. And so how that impacts your will is that, okay, let's say you set a goal for working out. And I experienced this so much, is that when, like, if you set a goal for working out, it's like my emotions are, you know, you my weight is not going down, so I guess I'm going to be like this anyway. I'm already feeling guilty or lazy, so why not just stay like this? And so you lose that motivation to keep going until you do see the results, right? So like I said, we're gonna like break this down. So all right, and I have notes as well. You ever have something you really want to do, right? So whether that's start a business, write the book, or go after a particular goal, but for some reason you just can't seem to get yourself to move. Right. And so a lot of times people pray, right? You plan. And I mean, when I say plan, it is to the T. And you've promised yourself, even hold on, let's go back to plan. Because when I talk to people, yeah, I got so many planners, I got so many journals and things like that. I'm talking about people like that, color coded, stickers, all of that. Right. But anyway, so not only that, but you've promised yourself this time will be different. And then you show up in that moment, but then nothing happens. Right. And so you start thinking, okay, maybe it's me, maybe I'm just lazy, or for some people, even worse, it's like, okay, well, God didn't really call me to this after all. But what if I told you that what you're experiencing is not laziness? It's a misalignment between your will, your thoughts, and your emotions. Okay. And so let's break this down. Like I said, so when people say I'm stuck, it usually comes down to one or more than the three things here, right? And so the first thing is your will, right? And so your will is that inner yes. It's the part of you that makes decisions and sets direction. When your will is weak or when it's weary, even the smallest task can feel heavy. And so also, like, even my people with ADHD, okay, me speaking, there are times where you want to get up and wash dishes, right? It's not that you're a dirty person, like you have the will that you want to wash dishes, but then it's like, let me just go climb back into bed because, right? And so I'm not, and also what I'm not saying, because again, I am diagnosed ADHD, but there are times where ADHD will speak, but there are times where my will of just simply not wanting to do it will speak, okay? And so sometimes that happens because you've made so many decisions that didn't go the way you hoped that it would. So now your will feels tired of trying, right? And so that's what I mean by that difference with the ADHD versus your actual will speaking being weak, because it has so much evidence of things not working in your favor to where it's why keep trying. Okay. And so you start saying things like, okay, what's the point? Or I'll do it later. But the truth is, your will, it is not broken. It is just bruised. Okay. And at the end of the day, it needs faith and it needs clarity to rise again. And those are two big things. Those are two words that get overused, faith and clarity. But in this moment, I want you to really think about, where has your faith been? Because when things don't work out, your faith gets bruised as well. Like, I keep believing, but I'm not seeing the results, right? And then where clarity comes in, it's like, okay, so we buy a program, and that program is supposed to help us do X, Y, and Z. But oftentimes, what's missing in those programs, because typically people buy those, jump into the free portion of the program, or the portion of the program that doesn't offer the exact details on how to get there. It kind of gives a broad range of things. So really, we're not getting clear through those types of programs. All right. And understandable. But what I'm saying here is that we have to now look at where's our faith, and then what type of clarity have we really been seeking. Okay. And so the next thing is our thoughts. Okay. Then there's then there's your thought life. You can't move forward when your mind keeps building walls of what ifs. Those defeating thoughts sound like, it's too late for me. Someone's already doing it better. That's someone else thing. When we start like, okay, you know what? There's so many other people, especially coaches. Oh my God, there's so many coaches out there. Okay. And you can be a part of it too, because what they offer is not what you offer. Even if it looks like it, it's not, because they're not you and they can't offer you. All right. And so someone's already doing it better. What if I fail again? I failed so many times, and you can go through my social media. It is proof of my failure. I am not a failure, but I have failed in so many decisions that I make. But I'm so proud of those failures because it's gotten me to where I am today. And so I actually sit in my failures and I celebrate them, because without them, I could not be sitting here having this specific conversation with you right now. Okay. So those thoughts don't come from truth, they come from fear. And fear loves to sound logical. All right. And when it sounds logical, it means, when we talked about that evidence, that so many evidence of things not working, failure feeds on that. Right. And so what we ignore is the evidence of things that has worked. A lot of times, within our mind, negative speaks louder than positive. So it's not that positive is not there. It's that we allow the negative to be stronger than the positive. And so what we have to do is we have to figure out, how do we get positive to speak louder than the negative. Okay. And that's something we have to train our brain to do. But once you start catching those thoughts and replacing them with what God actually said about you, your whole mental atmosphere begins to shift. Okay. And that's training. So yes, pray, yes, plan. But what we forget is training. All right. We have to actually do the work to train our brain to set ourselves up for success. All right. And then the third thing is our emotions, which is a big deal. And a lot of us can get carried away with our emotions, even myself. And so our emotions can keep us in places of where we don't want to be. For example, I'll be very vulnerable with this when it came to my emotions. So I am divorced. I've been divorced probably for over 2 years now. I'm in a new relationship, but my emotions about that individual has had residue left over. And so it's actually not the relationship with the person itself, because we co-parent great. I'm not gonna say we get along, because but what I'll say is the residue of the emotions for that person has definitely has actually been pointed out to me now, that it does leave a stain on what you do for the future. And so until you actually cleanse these toxic emotions that you're feeling, and not be in training your brain to not move in the direction of those toxic emotions, right, you're going to feel stuck. All right. And so let me just get back to my notes here. Right. So sometimes you know what to do, but you can't make yourself feel like doing it. All right. And so you get caught between motivation and guilt. Right. You get caught between peace and pressure. You tell yourself, I wait until I feel ready. Ooh, I like when people like, I wait till I'm ready for that. Like, and life happens actually when you're actually not ready. Your biggest aha moments is actually when you're not ready. And so, yeah. So, but ready never comes. Here's the thing: emotions are real, but they're not reliable drivers, right? And so, the biggest thing I want you to take away when it comes to your emotion is that they are indicators. And so, not they're not instructions. And so a lot of people allow their emotions to give them instruction on what or how to move forward, and this is why we stay stuck or feel stuck. like I said, emotions play a big part in the things that we do. So if I get up and I feel tired and I know I need to get up and and walk, me saying that I feel tired and allowing that tired feeling or however I'm feeling in the moment, that demotivation or whatever, to dictate if I'm actually going to reach my goal or not, that's huge, right? So we don't want our emotions to be our instruction, but we want them to be indicators. Yes, I'm tired, but I need to get up because I have a goal to reach. And it is painful to move through the feeling of not wanting to move through the wheel of not want to, right? To move through, I would rather say no in this moment than yes to, yes to myself in order to see the results. It really, it is a painful thing, but we have to begin to train our brain to do different. And this is a part of that training. All right. So if you follow your emotions, you'll end up cycling the same mountain over and over again. Okay. All right, and so the truth about the stuck feeling. So when your will, your thoughts and your emotions are not aligned, your soul goes into confusion. So your will can say, okay, I want to lose weight. I want to eat healthier. I want to build this business. I want to become certified as a coach. I want to, do all of these things. I want to show more femininity. I want to be less masculine, right? So I'm talking about myself. I want to do these things. I want to be able to lean on other people, right? These are all real things that we uh, deal with. I want to be less hyper independent because for so long I've had to only depend on myself. But now there's a person in my life where I can lean on, right? So I want to do these things, but my emotions, the emotions that come up because they're triggers that happen in my brain to signal the emotion that I felt in the moment of when I didn't feel truly supported. And that's the emotion that's showing up in this place of where I can be safe in this place where I need to make a decision in, right? And so what happens is the want to misaligns with the emotion that comes up, that negative emotion that comes up. And so which one do we give into? There's a misalignment. So now we have to train our emotion to come up here with our will, right? And the want to, but then also our thoughts. The thoughts is actually what provides the evidence. And so when we can align our thoughts, when we can align our will, and when we can align our emotions, right, our soul can get out of this confused state and begin to make movements. All right. And so but oftentimes, right, this is when our soul goes into confusion, and that's what creates the feeling of being stuck, right? And so the other thing is, it's not punishment, it's your inner system saying something's off, we're out of agreement. Okay. And here's where guilt actually sneaks in, because when you don't understand what's really happening inside you, you start turning on yourself. Okay. I don't think y'all heard me. I don't think y'all heard me. So when your will is saying, I want to, and your emotions is saying, your thoughts are saying, oh, you want to, here's evidence of, okay, when you tried this last time, right? And then when those thoughts come up, now the emotion is like, yeah, like, that didn't feel good. I don't want to feel like that no more. I shut that piece of me down so I never have to hurt again or feel like a failure again, right? So when those moments are happening, I lost my train of thought. I lost my train of thought. But anyways, when those moments are happening, right? It is you turn on yourself. That's where I was going with this, right? So your inner self is turning on yourself because you have your want to, your thoughts, and your emotions, and they're all speaking different things. And so instead of you saying, "Oh wait, something's happening on the inside of me," right? We immediately begin to blame ourselves and keep ourselves in the same cycle. I am the failure. I must be lazy. God must not be really speaking to me. Is God really here for me? Does he hear me? Right. And we begin to challenge our own core belief of who we are and whose we are. Okay. And so that's a huge thing. Um, right. And so you think I must not have enough faith, or maybe God took the assignment back from me. But no, you just need to bring the three parts of you back into harmony. Okay, so I'm glad we got through that because I just lost my train of thought. All right, so we need to reframe, and I'm going to give you three things that's going to help you begin to reframe the alignment. Actually, I'm going to give you four things that's going to help. So the first thing is acknowledge which part is out of balance. Okay, so ask yourself, is it my will that's weak, my thoughts, that are defeating me, or my emotions that are leading me. All right. So that's one. The second thing is speak truth to that area. So once you've identified which part is out of alignment, or parts, because it could be multiple, are out of alignment, you want to go ahead and speak truth to it. If it's your will, remind yourself of why you wanted to accomplish this in the first place. If it's your thoughts, replace them with what's real and not what's rehearsed. All right. And even if you have to go back, I always tell people, especially those who feel like they're failures, is what is an achievement? Did you win in a spelling bee, even get accepted into a spelling bee? Because a lot of people are not getting accepted into it, right? What are even the smallest achievements that you've ever made, to begin to remind yourself on these micro levels that you are not a failure, right? You may have failed moments, but you're not a failure, right? And then if it's your emotions, the biggest thing is to feel the emotion. A lot of times people stop the feeling from emotion. I remember back in the day, I remember my first heartbreak. Listen, okay, I was hurt. And so I said, I never let nobody in the way I let that person in. And I went through all of that. But anyway, a lot of people shut down because mental pain, emotions, it's a real pain that can show up physically, and we don't like that feeling. But if it's your emotions, you have to feel them, breathe through them, release them, even if you have to journal, okay? But don't follow them. Don't allow it to be your instruction. All right. And then there's number 3, take one small action in faith. Movements rebuild belief. Even the smallest steps break spiritual stillness. So one of the big things for me was I began walking. This is me. I sit at my desk all day, every day, and I was not active. And so I knew I needed to get active. So one day I said, okay, let me go to the park. And my celebration was and because there's many times I say, let me get up and go to the park and walk. And I was like, not today. And so I simply celebrated the fact the first time I went to the park to walk after being so settled and not active, I celebrated the simple fact that I went to the park. Right. I honored the decision. Right. And so eventually it grew. Oh my God, I did 2 laps. 3 laps. I'm now walking 4 miles and on a consistent basis. So come on. All right. Listen, celebration is celebration. It starts with the small and then you can grow from there. Honor where you are in your moment. It doesn't matter how small you might think it feels, but it's actually huge. You're making huge transformations in your brain and in your mind by telling yourself, building your belief and telling yourself that you can actually do something. Okay. All right. And so let's just bring this to a close. So the first thing I want to let you know is you're not lazy. You're not behind, and God has not changed his mind about you. All right. You're just in a moment where where your will, your thoughts, and your emotions have fallen out of alignment. And that's something we can work on. Okay. That's something that's we can have movement and traction in that. All right. And so because the truth is, once you understand how these 3 parts of you work together, life actually starts to flow again, right? And so you stop forcing yourself to move and start being moved by peace. For example, and I'm gonna use this workout because I'm very proud of me getting up and working out. It felt like a chore to get up and just walk and take a walk at a park. But after a while, and actually I started doing it because I had a trip I was like, oh, I need to lose weight to go to Mexico. And so I actually, in the process of me doing it, I started enjoying the walk, and I started enjoying just being able to hear nature and birds and things like that. I completely forgot that I was walking for Mexico. Like I completely forgot. And so I don't know, it just became easier and I love it. So now I get up to do it. It's not a chore. I want to do it. I want to get up and be active and walk. And when I don't do it, it's like, oh, I didn't get to walk today. Right. So, okay, there's a huge mindset shift here. Just in the ability of getting up. All right. All right. And so I'm putting together a new mindset group, and this is our 4th thing. And so it's a space where we'll walk through these inner battles together. It's for people who are tired of feeling stuck. They're tired of starting over and ready to rebuild their confidence, their focus, and their emotions. Are the emotional strength from the inside out. All right. And so we'll work through the very things that keep you from moving, that misalignment between your will, your thoughts, and your emotions, and help you find your rhythm again. Because at one point in your life, like you can think back to a time, well, majority of us can think back to a time where it's like, okay, life is good. Like I'm chill right here in this space. But then we got on these responsibilities. We became mothers, wives, started working the job that we wanted, or jumped into a business, and our flow got interrupted. And so what we needed to do was we need to figure out what our new flow was. But for a lot of us, we could not figure that out. And so now we're kind of in survival mode, trying to figure out, how do I live life, take care of my family, take care of my responsibilities. Okay. And so that's what this group does, is it puts us back into alignment. Right. And so if this sounds like something that you would be interested in, something, if that sounds like the kind of breakthrough you've been praying for, I want you to go ahead and put yourself on the waiting list. And so you'll be the first to know when the doors open, because it's not open yet, but when the doors open, and you'll get early access to special resources that's designed to help you start shifting your mindsets right now. Okay. So um, thank you guys for listening. My name is Alicia Joy, with the Alicia Joy Coaching Academy, as well as with Alicia's Idea Factory. So just remember, you're not stuck. You're just being invited to realign. And this time, you won't have to do it alone. So remember, just jump on that waiting list, and also make sure that you like, subscribe, and follow, so that you can get more videos like this that provide you with these mindsets, tips, and tricks on how to get unstuck and get yourself back into alignment and into the flow that you find easy for your lifestyle. All right. Have a great day.